can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the same. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, host of InspiredInsider.com. This is a special episode where I have some amazing leaders and entrepreneurs share some of their favorite resources, so stay tuned.
This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help B2B businesses give to and connect to their Dream 200 relationships and partnerships. We do this in two ways. Number one, we are an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast for ROI. We do the strategy, accountability, and full execution and production. Number two, we are also an easy button for your company's corporate gifting. We make gifting and staying top of mind to your clients, partners, and prospects simple and seamless and affordable. Some companies even send gifts to staff from a culture perspective. All you have to do is give us the list of people you want to follow up and keep in touch with, and we do everything else from there, from gift selection to the card to your branding on the box. We call ourselves the magic elves that run in the background to make it as stress-free as possible for companies so they can build relationships and run their business. For me, the number one thing in my life is relationships, and I am always looking at how to give to my best relationships. And I've found no better way over the past decade than having them on my podcast, featuring what they are working on and sharing it with the world, and also sending delicious treats in the mail every few months for years. If you have thought about starting a podcast or gifting, do it. If you have questions, email us at support@rise25.com or go to rise25.com to learn more.
All right, Jeremy Weiss here. This is a top resources, part of the top resources series. I'm here with Corey Ganim. We're going to check them out at returnmytime.com, and we're going to geek out on Corey's favorite tools, tech, software, apps, whatever it is. And obviously you'll see he's really into AI. So we'll hear what he uses. But Corey, before we get into that, just tell people about Return My Time. And what you do is you do that. I'm going to pull up your website so we can check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much for the opportunity. So at Return My Time, we specialize in working with non-technical entrepreneurs, whether they're solopreneurs or small business owners. And we mainly do that through what we call our AI tools assessment. So that's a 45-minute interview where we interview you to uncover the bottlenecks in your business. And then based on that interview, we then give you a report that prescribes 3 to 7 off-the-shelf AI tools that you can implement immediately to reclaim 5 to 10 hours or more per week, right? And these are tools that don't require any coding expertise. They don't require you to hire anybody new. These are just out-of-the-box software tools. So again, thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to kind of geeking out on some of my favorite tools here.
Maybe just chat about a few use cases to start off with, and then that will get into the tools.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm even pulling one up here on my other monitor. So we did a tools assessment recently for a realtor, one actually here local in Charlotte to me. And what we found out through that interview process is that she is spending $50 per photo for virtually staged photos, right? So, she's a realtor, she gets a listing, she's got to go into a house and, there's no furniture because they've already moved out. So she's got to stage that photo either manually by hand by renting the furniture or by paying someone to virtually stage it. And so we prescribed a tool to her called virtualstagingai.app. If you check out that website, what that is it's basically an AI tool that stages properties for realtors. So she can just take a picture of a room, a completely empty room, and in 10 seconds, it'll be fully staged based on the style that she chooses, whether she wants it to be modern or luxury, etc. And it can also remove furniture.
This isn't it though, right, Corey? Is this it?
No, so that's a different one.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So it's virtualstagingai.app.
Okay.
And so it can also remove furniture from photos. So, think about these realtors that get a listing for a hoarder house. So they can take a picture of a room that's completely filled with hoarder junk, and the AI will remove it and just give you the original room. So I love that example because she's a high volume realtor. She's doing 20 to 30 listings per year. And if she's having to pay for, say, 10 to 12 virtually staged photos per listing, right? I mean, that's $500 per listing times 20 listings. That's $10,000 a year. So this tool comes out to about $1 per photo. So she's going from $10,000 a year to $50 per year in cost for those virtually staged photos. And so those are the types of tools that we find for people they don't even know exist.
I love it. Yeah. And it's like, talk about your process a little bit. So you go in and you basically find out kind of where their bottlenecks are, or maybe things that they don't even realize are a bottleneck or that can save them time.
Exactly. Yeah. So it started off, actually, a friend of mine was like, Corey, he's like, I wish you could just follow me around for a day and just kind of like look over my shoulder and see the way that I run my business. And then based on what I'm doing, you could kind of plug AI into those gaps or tell me where I could be using AI. And I was like, that's a really good idea, but obviously it doesn't scale for me to just go in person to everybody's business. So that's when we created this virtual process where, like you said, it's pretty simple. We just get on Zoom and interview you for 45 minutes with a very specific question bank designed to pull out those bottlenecks, right? And what's pretty exciting is, as of this week, we've actually created and trained a voice agent to be able to do those interviews on our behalf. So that really removes me as the bottleneck. And now customers get an even better experience by talking and having these conversations on demand with a voice agent whenever they're ready.
That's awesome. Yeah. So go into some of the tools, tech. I will mention, Corey, there's a book, I don't know if you've listened to it, called The Goal. It's one of my
is
favorites
that Eli
by
Goldratt?
like Goldratt. So it sounds like a lot of the same principles and things you're applying to these businesses, which is valuable.
100%.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very good comparison there.
So yeah, just talk about some of the tech tools, software apps. I'm sure you have a million running around in your head.
I do. Yeah. So the first one I want to touch on is Claude. So that's CLAUDE.ai. And so for the folks out there, if you've never heard of Claude, Claude is a competitor of ChatGPT. So think of it as just like a different version of ChatGPT. But what I love about Claude and why I prefer it over ChatGPT is because Claude, in my opinion, is a much clearer thinker and a much clearer writer. So, if you ask ChatGPT to draft you an email or draft you a post, for example, it's going to be pretty generic and it sounds like an AI wrote it. And Claude, in my opinion, is just much clearer. So I've switched my chatbot of choice. Used to be ChatGPT, but now it's Claude.
That's interesting. Now, does Claude have a audio feature? I know, like, what I like about ChatGPT is you can actually click and just speak into it. And then, does Claude have that same function?
So that's a great question. Claude does not have a voice function like ChatGPT does. And that's actually a big reason why a lot of people prefer to stay with ChatGPT. They like to physically talk to their AI, which ChatGPT lets you do, but Claude does not let you do that as of now.
Yeah. I mean, there's tools. I use WhisperFlow and things like that. So I guess I could use WhisperFlow for something like that. But yeah, that's good to know. It does make it easy if you could just like click a button and voice it right in.
So it's funny that you mentioned WhisperFlow because that's exactly where I was going next. So, when I do these like top tools episodes, usually Claude and WhisperFlow are the top 1 and 2. They're interchangeable at 1 and 2. So once you're switched over to Claude, that's where I tell people download WhisperFlow, which is an incredibly powerful voice to text tool, right? So think of WhisperFlow kind of like if Siri was actually good, right? WhisperFlow is everything that Siri was supposed to be, because with WhisperFlow, when I'm talking to text, right, I hold down 2 buttons on my keyboard and I can just talk, but it actually formats my speech in a way that's appropriate, right? So how when you talk to Siri, it's like it's capitalizing random things and there's periods here, there's commas there that don't make sense. But with WhisperFlow, when it dictates my speech, it actually formats it intelligently. So if I'm giving it, let's say, a list of things, it will go in and number that list for me, or it'll bullet point that list for me automatically. And it's very accurate. So WhisperFlow is just, it took my typing speed from about 40 words per minute up to, I think I'm now at 130 words per minute. And when you spend all day typing, like me and probably like you, then the time saving ends up being exponential.
Yeah, totally. And there's hotkeys on your computer for everyone out there. So like you don't even need to use the mouse. You could just like hold keys in your, keyboard and make it happen.
Exactly. And there's a little bit of it takes maybe like a week or so to get used to that process. But once you've kind of trained yourself to, like, when you go to type like a prompt into ChatGPT or Claude, or you go to write an email, you kind of just get in that habit of like, I don't need to type it. I can just hold, like on my keyboard, I have the shortcut is Control Windows key. So if I just hold those two buttons and just talk, the text appears perfectly on screen, and it's way faster than typing.
I know you have a bunch on there. I'm just curious on a lot of people spend a lot of time in email, right? And so I'm curious, other productivity hacks with email. I've been using Whisperflow, and like, I use Gmail, we use Google Suite, so Gemini. What do you do or have you helped people with, or you personally do for productivity in the abyss of email?
Yeah. And great question. So, obviously I mentioned at the start of this episode, our AI tools assessment. So I'd say every single, like no exaggeration, every single assessment we've done thus far, email has come up as one of the biggest bottlenecks. And we found a really solid tool that we recommend pretty much unanimously in every assessment that we do. And that is called SaneBox, SANE box.com. And SaneBox, it's like the best value.
I'm a huge fan of SaneBox. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So it's like
really inexpensive.
Right.
Totally.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, it's the best value on the planet. It's $7 a month. And what it does, it's kind of just an overlay to your email. So it just sits on top of your email, whether you're in Gmail or Outlook or wherever your email sits, and it starts to learn your inbox. So what it will do is over time, it starts filtering out automatically spam or sales pitches or anything you wouldn't normally open or read. And it starts prioritizing your top priority emails. And then any email that it's like, well, hey, Jeremy, he needs to attend to this, but it's not urgent, it'll put in its own dedicated inbox, which it calls Sane Later. So that way, whenever you need to sit down and just like process and batch all your emails, it's way more efficient because you're like, I'm going to knock out the priority emails first, and then I'm going to knock out Sane Later. And then anything that I would have probably deleted anyways has already gotten filtered out. So SaneBox is a game changer. Yeah, and it's only $7 a month. It's crazy cheap.
Yeah, I think I forgot, paid $99 a year or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Anything else for email that you recommend? I've tested things like Superhuman before. Maybe it's better now, but it eliminated some of my hotkey functions, and so that was a deal breaker for me. Right. But I know people like that. I don't know if there's any other inbox or email tools that you like.
Yeah, so really it's my default is SaneBox. Superhuman's a good one too. I haven't messed with Superhuman myself, but I know a lot of people who speak really highly of it. But other than that, just having the Claude Chrome extension on your browser, right? Having that up and running while you're in your email inbox. A lot of times Claude can just kind of jump in and draft emails or sort things accordingly. So that's another workaround if you're already a Claude user.
Love it. What other ones? Just in general, I don't know, any of your use cases you've gone into businesses and you recommend or that you use personally?
Yeah, so there are quite a few, right? So, and it really depends on what industry you're in. So like if you're a content creator like me, one of my big pain points for the longest time is creating YouTube thumbnails, right? I used to pay, in fact, up until about a month ago, I would pay a thumbnail designer $50 per thumbnail to design thumbnails, right? Which is pretty expensive, but the going rate for a thumbnail is $30 to $50 per thumbnail. So I found a tool called thumbnailmaker.ai, and it's $20 a month, and you get 20 credits per month, basically 20 thumbnails per month. And I don't know if, Jeremy, if you've ever tried to generate a thumbnail using like ChatGPT or even Nano Banana Pro, but it just doesn't do a good job. This particular AI tool does a very good job. I can give it a 1-sentence description of my video, and it'll make a really good thumbnail. In fact, since I started using it 2 weeks ago, I put out 2 videos, and the most recent one was my number 1 of 10, and the other one was number 2 of 10, and my click-through rate has more than doubled, which is directly attributable to the thumbnail. So like this one tool alone, if you are a YouTube creator or if you ever need to make custom thumbnails, is very much worth it and has personally paid me an ROI within 2 weeks.
I love it. And I forgot what the book is called. Corey, maybe you'll remember. There is a book that I listened to on Audible that one of the co-authors is Mr. Beast, right?
Yep.
And he talks in that book about it's like the thumbnail is one of, if not the most important thing in, we're talking someone who gets billions and billions of views on his YouTube. So that's a great one.
Yep. Yeah. And for anybody listening, that if you're on YouTube or you've had a channel before, I mean, that's the game is title and thumbnail. That's 80% of it. And it's like, can I get somebody to click on my video more often than normal? Like that's what it comes down to. So this tool really does a good job of that, in my opinion. Very
awesome.
good job.
What other ones?
So it's funny. I'm just scrolling through my my AI bookmark folder on Chrome, and I'm just kind of going down the list.
Yeah, go ahead.
So another great one is called Gamma.app. Now, if you're like me and you have no design eye at all, and you just terrible at making slideshows, anytime I make a PowerPoint, it's just like bullet points on a white background. That's all.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, me too. So Gamma.
You do not want me doing this.
Yeah.
It looks like a third grader did it.
Right. I'm the same way. And so what Gamma does, and does a really good job of, is creating basically AI generated documents and slideshows. So something that I like to do now is I will actually go into Claude and kind of brain dump my thought. Like if I have to put together a slideshow, I'll go into Claude and just brain dump my thoughts of like, hey, this is what I want to talk about. These are some of the key points I want to hit on, and just kind of give it my brain dump. And then I'll have it turn that brain dump into just a Google Doc. And then I will feed that Google Doc to Gamma, and Gamma will turn that into a really, like, what I think is very polished, very good looking slides or documents, right? So, I mean, I've created like 10, 15, 20 slide presentations using that exact workflow that I just mentioned in like 10 to 15 minutes, like completed, done, sent to the event with Gamma. Like that's how easy it makes it. And it looks really good and it's on brand.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we don't have lots of time to go through every one individually, but there's a couple others that you want to just shout out to before we wrap up. And I will, it's funny, Corey, you say that because when I had Nicole Donnelly on and she shared her AI tools, and literally we just went to her resources page on her website and just scrolled through. And I'm like, okay, just rattle out. And this is, if people are watching the video, I think we have it in the special mentions here. Maybe you'll geek out on this list too.
Oh yeah, she's got a bunch.
It was just like we just went through and like, okay, Suno, HeyGen. I mean, people can kind of check them out on their own, but what are a few more of your favorites?
Yeah, and so one thing I'll preface this by saying too, right? Like obviously we could go on for hours on tools.
Exactly.
So if folks want not only a tool list, but one that's tailored to their current level of AI mastery, they can go to returnmytime.com/quiz. And if you take that quiz, and if you just click like the get your free AI action plan. So it's like a 5 or 6 question quiz. And based on your answers, we'll actually send you a tailored resource that's like, hey, you're an AI practitioner, so these are some tools that are going to help you. Versus if you were like brand new, it'd be a different set of tools, right? So they can go to returnmytime.com/quiz to get those. But let's see if we have time for maybe one more. Another one that I really enjoy is called Note GPT. So NOTE GPT.com. And what's cool about Note GPT is that you can give it a YouTube video link, or you can give it a link to just about any video or podcast resource. And what it'll do is it will actually, I think it's notegpt.io, Jeremy.
Okay. Everything's so similar now. Like
I know there's like,
I don't know. Recently, obviously, there was like Clawbot or whatever, and Claude's like that's too close. And so when you go to it, it redirects to, I forgot what it's called now, like Open Claw, right? And so, but I mistakenly, someone was sharing something. I typed in what they did, and it was like there was still a website there, and it was a different tool. So
yeah, it's either .io or .com or like .co.
So this one's I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So the one that I'm mentioning, I'm pretty sure is notegpt.io. And so what that lets,
right here.
There it is. So you can, like I said, you can plug in the link to a YouTube video or a podcast and it'll summarize that video for you. It'll generate the transcript. And what's cool is it almost turns itself into like ChatGPT for that specific video. So there's been plenty of times in the past where I will watch like a 2 hour, say like masterclass video. And then a week later, I'm like, oh, like what did he say in that video about XYZ topic? And what I don't want to do is I don't want to go back and rewatch that full 2 hours and look for the point that I missed. I would just plug the link into Node GPT and be like, hey, what did Jeremy say about AI tools in that video? And then it'll just give me the answer based on the, the transcript. So that's a really cool one for just making content consumption a lot quicker.
Love it. So, Corey, I just want to encourage people can check out that quiz. They can go to returnmytime.com, returnmytime.com/quiz. Any other places we should have people check out?
No, I tell them just go there, right? Returnmytime.com/quiz. That's going to give you kind of that tailored action plan that you can then implement as you please.
Love it. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. This is a great people, great resources episode. Paul Feith. God, Paul. I love Paul. We're both in Chicago, and people can check it out at paulgregorymedia.com. Paul, we'll start off. This is, we're going to talk about, he is geeks out on tech, tools, software, and so we're going to get into that. But before we do, Paul, talk about your company. What you do is you do that. I'm going to pull up the website.
Yeah, we're a Midwestern digital marketing agency. We specialize in the nonprofit world. So nonprofit organizations, mission-driven organizations, or sometimes they call them purpose-driven organizations. We follow that up with our unique certification. We're a certified B Corporation and People and Planet verified social enterprise. And we just have a lot of fun. If we're going to do marketing, let's try to make the world a better place, and let's give it a reason to get up in the morning, I guess, is a big thing. And I've been a tech nerd since my early adult life. So I started out at Playboy Enterprises, of all companies, being in charge of the new media division. And if you can imagine,
there's a big difference between Playboy and nonprofits.
It is.
That should be the title of this, from Playboy to nonprofit.
Although Playboy has been acting like a nonprofit lately, though. If you can imagine yourself in 1996 or 95 even, and what the web looked like, and who the players were, and evaluating vendors with I would be presented with these software as a service and internet browser add-ons and plugins with puppets and strings. This is how they would present them to us. So, and big players like EMC Squared, and which of course is huge in the industry, but they all wanted to work with Playboy. So I was in the very unique position of implementing new technology that's just never been heard about before.
What did you do there at Playboy?
I was in charge of the new media division, so shifting everything from traditional formats to the digital world. So one of my first jobs was in charge of taking all the slides in the cold rooms. They were stored in temperature controlled cold rooms, and they had to be digitized. So decades and decades of digitization, creating the massive website, doing coast to coast webcasts. I actually worked with Mark Cuban back when he had AudioNet in Texas, and we did a coast to coast webcast in New York and LA that was simulcasted on the internet. And back then, if you were lucky enough, you had ISDN. Not a lot of people had broadband like they do today. So we had a technology that if the bandwidth wasn't enough, we would reduce the quality of the video, but still keep it smooth as opposed to choppy. But we had cameras in each location. So if you could imagine 10,000 users pointing the camera and zooming in and panning, and there's 10,000 users doing it, all you see in the camera is it just fluttering all over the place because it remembers the position from each IP address. So it's really cool technology that we got into.
You obviously were an early adopter in technology. So talk about today, like what maybe tech stack, what are some of your favorite tools, software? What are you using now?
Yeah. Just to put context around it, I owned a VIC-20 computer back in the day when they were out and they're popular. So I was always into computers and tech. Our tech stack in our agency is up until 2000s, I was a Microsoft fanboy, loved everything about Microsoft back when Bill Gates was running it. After he left, I just didn't, and to this day, I just don't like the software. I don't like Microsoft Office 365. I think it's horrible, especially on a Mac, and still buggy to this day. Somebody introduced me to Google Workplace, as it's called now, and it took me a year to finally like love it. And now it's
So
just like a
you
breath
don't use Microsoft, you don't use like
at all,
Copilot or at all. Okay.
at all. No,
Yeah. So it's all Google Suite type of stuff.
it's entirely Google Suite. Yeah, for the Office stuff. Yeah, for Word, documents, spreadsheet, and now with Google Gemini tightly integrated into that. I'm extremely happy with that particular stack. I also was a big fan of Slack, and I still use it in a lot of organizations that I partner with. But when we were looking at cost cutting measures in 2024 or 2025, we thought, Google Workplace has the same thing. Google Chat is just the same as Slack. It had some quirks to it. Now it's so tightly integrated into email and into documents and Gemini that I can't imagine going back to Slack for our internal communications.
What about from like a project management perspective? What do you use?
Yeah, so we kind of reevaluate that every year. We love and have always used Trello. And I wouldn't even call it project management, though it
I
can
think it
handle
is.
it.
Yeah.
It's more task management, I would say,
Yeah.
than anything else. But it's grown to in the last 5 or 6 years to be more of a project management tool. The Kanban view is probably the most popular view that they have, but they also do all the Gantt views and calendar view, everything like that. So they've grown up. We kept looking at other tools like ClickUp and Monday and Asana, all the regular suspects, with ClickUp being like the end all be all. And it is. ClickUp would be the one we would graduate to. It's just that it takes so much time to put into it what you want to get out of it that I said to my team, and myself included, if we don't, until we can take fully advantage of Trello, we're not going anywhere
Yeah.
because we're not bumping into.
If it's working, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know what I
If we're
mean?
not bumping
Like
into any walls, and
totally.
it really is like butter. It's like
I
you don't
have a
have to put in a lot of
Trello.
information.
I have a Trello. We use ClickUp, but when we were heavy users of Asana,
Hmm.
and then we were bumping up against like Asana wasn't great. Maybe it's changed with you using forms. You use a lot of form fills
Yeah.
for clients and internally, and Asana was not great at that, and we were bumping up into that as a bottleneck for us. And so we looked at Monday and ClickUp, and we went with ClickUp. But like you said, if it work, Trello is super easy and simple. I use it. I still use it for different things just because it's
Yeah.
easy to launch different boards and things like that. So
Sure.
I love
And we
that.
don't do a lot of forms, but when we do, I've when we don't do a lot of forms, but when we do, we choose JotForm, and
Jotform, yeah,
JotForm's our
awesome.
our favorite tool
Yeah,
for that because.
Jotform. I had the founder of Jotform on the podcast actually,
Oh,
and
really?
we helped them with their podcast as well. So yeah, Jotform is great, and I think I forgot what he said, Paul, but like I don't know, butcher it, but it was something like they grew to like 25 million users, or I'm not sure how many
Mhm.
users they have now, but it's pretty significant. And it's very, I know a lot of healthcare companies use it because it's very HIPAA compliant. There's a lot of privacy
Yes.
built into Jotform, which is
Yeah.
important for a lot of people. So yeah, I also use Jotform too.
Yeah. Great story he has too, starting as just a single developer, and then it was a team of three for the longest time.
Yep. Yeah, over 25 million users. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah.
Uh,
They just celebrated their anniversary.
oh wow,
If you're on our email chain, you would have gotten that probably yesterday.
nice. What else? Are
What
there
else?
any like different AI tools that you're experimenting with or other
Love
things?
Gemini for just about everything.
Yeah.
So we use that probably the most. Um,
How do you use it?
Mostly, um, we have templated proposal processes. We use betterproposals.io for that. But that whole beginning preamble and then why is it best to work, where do we gel with your company? We find
Like
sometimes that's
customize it
yeah,
easily.
that customization piece, I think really helps, and Gemini really speeds things up there. Evaluating PDFs, long PDFs, especially RFPs.
You could
Um,
throw it in a Gemini, give it some direction, and it helps.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we don't answer RFPs, but on the rare occasion that we do, or we want to look at it or forward it to somebody, we'll get the skinny from Gemini on any long document that we need to really kind of get through and tabulate or cross-reference or whatever. Gemini's been great for probably all of it. And plus, just as an executive, I use Gemini just to write emails. Actually, one of my favorites that have been of the last 5 months is Fixer. Believe it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I experimented with Fixer too.
So I subscribed, and
I,
um,
I'm
it
curious what you thought of it, but yeah, I'll
now I
share
love
my
it.
my
I
thoughts
have
on it.
one caveat, but I love it. It
Okay.
puts things into one of 10 folders and it answers them. It doesn't send it out until you hit send, because you may want to adjust it a little bit, but it saves me on average 4 to 6 hours a week, and it tells me, how it did that. Um, and I just love like, oh, I got this email, and then but it checks for your tone and voice over the last 3 years of emails. It checks your calendar. It's integrated in just about everything. So it answers the emails for you. And I would say 90% of the time I don't have to touch it and I just hit send. The only caveat, and I'm getting used to this now, is when you get the two-factor authentication. Where does it go? What folder is it in? I'm starting to learn now that there's a notification folder and it's always there. And I'm getting used to looking in there, really, to be the first thing I look at when I get the 2FA stuff. But great program, and pretty inexpensive too, to just even
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah. On the email front, I'm curious if there's anything else you use. I use SaneBox, which
Mhm.
automatically kind of filters things. And I love Gemini, combination of Whisper Flow and Gemini. So, which allows me, those hotkeys, so I can hold down like whatever function. And if anyone's used Whisper Flow, it just is a dictation software. So I open up Gemini inside of Gmail, dictate with Whisper Flow inside Gemini, and then it cleans up my email and also looks at the previous emails and like crafts it.
Oh, nice. I haven't
Yeah,
heard of
and
Whisperflow.
so yeah, I mean, they give it a free version, but it goes across a desktop app. So if you're like just dictating
Mm.
into a social media channel or email, or yeah, obviously ChatGPT has a voice thing, but Claude does it, and so I use Whisperflow with Claude just to dictate into Claude. But I did try Fixer. I spent a lot of time in email, Paul. So if you
Yeah.
have any other productivity hacks, I tried Fixer. I wanted to love it. The issue is it shut off one of my hotkeys, which is my archive key. And I get so many emails a day. I need to be able to like archive things really quickly.
Yeah.
And it shut those my it stopped my it shut down my those hotkeys. And so like that was a non-starter for me,
Oh, of
unfortunately.
course. Yeah.
So anyway, so I am looking for like a tool like that that will help with my email. But anything else on the email productivity front that you
Those two,
use
Gemini,
too? Yeah.
and I used to love I can't think of the name of it because it was a weird name, but basically it was a pixel. So you knew when somebody opened the email. So
Oh,
when
okay.
if and when you were ghosted, you're like, no, you looked at it. There's a lot of them out
SaneBox
there, but
does SaneBox does do that. It
yeah,
sends it into no replies, so I can check this no replies to see if someone, if I need to follow up on anything, right?
and they looked at it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Um, what else? Any other from a productivity standpoint, just in general with business or even personally on your
We
phone?
yeah, we track every minute of every hour of every day that we work. Whether we bill by the hour or we bill by the project, we still track our time. I
What do
find
you
it just
use?
a very helpful management tool, especially if you think somebody's getting overwhelmed, to back off, just load balancing, things like that. But then
What do you
there's certain
use for
things
that?
we use. We use
Toggle. Okay.
toggle without the E.
Yeah.
Um,
I was just messaging with one of the people from Toggle. People love Toggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so maybe the first thing your listeners are thinking, okay, he uses Toggle for time tracking. He uses Trello for project management, counting that we use QuickBooks Online. We always have since we started the business. So that's going on 20 years. By the way, 20 years celebrating this coming month.
Congrats.
And they're disparate systems, but we're not going to see any. I just really don't see any advantage of using the time tracking built into QuickBooks or doing accounting in Toggle. They're working so well as they are
Yeah.
independent.
I hear that because like there's specialization. These companies have specialization,
Yeah.
and once it's because even in ClickUp, you were mentioning you can use the chat function in Google Suite. ClickUp has a function like Slack, but we use Slack just because
Yep.
it's like specific for those things. Could we switch everything over to ClickUp? Probably. Slack is quick. It's basically specializes in those kind of conversations. So
Hmm.
we use G Suite too. So we could, I mean, there's so many different tools, but whatever's quickest and easiest and best, I'm all for. So because ClickUp also has, you can do time tracking in ClickUp, but we use Hubstaff just because we like the functionality of Hubstaff. So they all have
All right. So
different,
you're in that same.
they all have different features that some people like different feature sets. So I totally get that.
Yeah,
But no,
for
this has
sure.
been great, Paul. Any other tool software apps that you use on your phone or desktop that we should, it could be a Chrome extension, that you
We
use
love
too?
Snagit. Snagit's one of the best tools for,
That's been
think of
around
like,
forever.
yeah,
Snagit. I
think of
think I used to.
Loom, when
Yeah.
you want to do a quick video or tutorials. We're
Yeah.
doing that all the time, showing clients how to do something. And maybe it's, how to update a page on their site or, whatever. Or maybe it's just going over an SEO report. But we like Snagit better. It just has all the same features, but it's easier to get in and out of, and there's almost no learning curve on how to use it.
And TechSmith, who I think owns Snagit, has been
They
around
do, yeah.
forever. Like I
They
remember using
do.
Camtasia when I was first podcasting, like whatever, 17 years
We
ago.
loved Camtasia, yeah.
Camtasia, I was using Camtasia and it's by
Back in the
TechSmith.
day, yeah.
Yeah.
And that program has grown
Still
up too. I just
exists,
haven't.
right?
It still exists. It's really grown up into a full-fledged video editor. I just haven't
Hmm.
had the time to play around with it. But I do like Snagit because it's just quick and easy. It's as quick as easy and easy as Loom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Loom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Loom. Yeah. Yeah. I know people love Loom as well, but, Paul, this
Yeah.
has been great. I appreciate you
Awesome.
sharing. People can check out paulgregorymedia.com. Also, you can check out the Mission Matters podcast. Paul is a podcast. He's had some amazing people. I think you've had people from
Yeah.
Make-A-Wish Foundation. What other
Yeah.
organizations have you had on the podcast?
Oh gosh, now you're
I'm
it's like
gonna I'm gonna pull it up
going.
real quick. Let me see.
Yeah, Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm sure we got somebody from Habitat for Humanity,
Make-A-Wish, Science
YMCA,
Olympiad,
YWCA in Chicago,
Chicago Arts Partnerships.
Giving to Page.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff with Giving DuPage, right?
Well, I'm
Kids
a board member there, yeah.
Matter,
Kids
DuPage
Matters.
Health Coalition.
Hmm.
So he's got some like really cool leaders from nonprofits on the show. So
And even a couple of for-profits. We got some professors from Rutgers. We had a really great conversation about AI and how the students were using AI, but then the teachers were checking the work with AI. So it was AI
mm,
checking
how
AI.
are they using AI? Just with the
Yeah.
papers and things? Like with
Yeah, for
writing
their
papers?
for their papers and their
Yeah,
end of semester reports. Yeah.
love it. So check it out. Check out the website. Check out the podcast as well. And we'll see you for next time, Paul.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
This is part of the Top Resources, Top People episode. We're going to geek out on our favorite tools, software, apps. I'm here with Phil Herrington. You can check him out at theconnectyourcommunity.com. Before we get into all of Phil's favorite apps, tools, software, whatever it is, Phil, just talk about theconnectyourcommunity.com and what you do. And as you do that, I'm going to pull up the website so people can check it out.
All right. Well, whenever somebody starts a business, the first thing they want is a customer, right? So a lot of people think networking is a great place to go get customers, and it is, but a lot of people do it incorrectly. They run out there and they meet a ton of people and they use them as an opportunity to sell their stuff. And what we wanted to create here is think of it like a private invite only LinkedIn, an inner circle of people that are helping you grow your network for you. And so we like to say we build your network, you build the relationships, and we actually spoon feed you the network by giving you a couple introductions every single week. And so you never have to come to a meeting in our world. We just hand those amazing people to you that we've already kind of scrubbed the list, if you will, and met all those awesome people. And then you now get to do strategic partnerships and whatever it is that you want to do.
What gave you the idea for this?
Yeah,
I've
it's a
never
great.
really heard of a networking group with no meetings, so it's kind of an interesting concept.
I know, right? Well, okay, great. So here's how it worked. I've been in sales for 40 years. When I was 8, I sold world's finest chocolate and just kept going, right? But throughout my years, I never knew networking existed. So 33 of that 40 years was all cold calling. So I had to learn my own systems and everything, right? When I found networking, I treated it just like a cold call, So I'm the guy that went on to do 5,000 one-to-ones in 8 years, which sounds great, but it
I don't
doesn't
know if it
actually
sounds that
work.
great, but
Okay.
yeah.
It sounds great for numbers,
Yeah, yeah,
but
exactly.
we weren't building any deeper relationships. So I read in a book, I need to get the name of this book because I shout it out all the time basically, but I read in this book that if you can eliminate um, a step from an already proven system, you can create a new category. So what did I want to eliminate? I eliminated the meeting. So if I can think of this as a done for you networking, if I can meet all the people and then the people that align with our message, which is people before profits, which is really the basics, then they join our network, and now your time is no longer wasted when you get on meetings with people. You have high quality conversations with people, and that's basically it. We've eliminated the meeting.
Now I want to know what the book is called. I don't know.
I know.
There's Perry Marshall. Shout out to
Mhm.
Perry Marshall. Has a couple books. He's got 80/20 sales and marketing, and he talks about this star principle. I don't know if he has a separate book on that, but I don't know if it's from his star principle. Maybe it's from Richard Koch's 80/20. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I need to know what that book is. I love that, which is eliminating the step from that.
yeah,
So I want to dig into a little bit on what you just said, but let's talk about maybe some of your favorite books
sure.
and maybe some of your favorite tools. Are there any favorite books on your list?
Yeah, everything that Benjamin Harding does that he did with Dan Sullivan. So that group of three books. I haven't got the last one.
There's a Who Not How, I know.
Yeah, so like
Yep.
it's like the gain and the gap, who not how, and oh
The
yeah, ten
Science of
times is.
Scaling. Oh, there's another. Yeah, The Science
And
of
I haven't
Scaling
got to
coming.
the science of scaling yet. That's my next read.
It's good.
But those, oh, it is okay, good. So
Yeah,
those three were amazing for my thought process.
cool.
And so learning how to stop doing things on your own and think of your business at the CEO level, even when you get started. Do not do the mundane tasks, if you will, and start hiring those out right away. And now we can, right? There's virtual assistants everywhere. We could speed that process up. Stop doing all that stuff that's bottlenecking your own business.
Any other favorite authors or books on your list?
I'll just go. I mean, if it's a sales book, I've probably read it and I read everything at 2 times speed because I'm looking for just that nugget I can hang on to that they think a little bit different. So if it's a sales or whatever book, but I will say on the personal side, I like post-apocalyptic books. So anything that has to do with the country got shut down and all that type of stuff, I just like that for entertainment.
Any sales books stick out? I know,
Hmm.
I don't know if it's really considered a sales book, but predictable revenue.
Hmm.
I had one of the people the CEO of predictable revenue. I know Aaron Ross wrote predictable revenue on there. That's a definitely a good one. Any of the sales ones stick out to you? There's a spin selling
Um,
book, I think, that's come up a bunch of times.
there's a really good book called The Super Connector, which is what I base a lot of my principles on the connecting about. There's the Sales Machine. That was a really good one because it goes deep into like how to create a sales system. So that's a really good one. Um, yeah, and then of course, anything Grant Cardone does, right? He just gets you all hyped up. So
Is this the one you're talking about? Super Connector, Scott
Super Connector
Gerber
is an
and Ryan
amazing one.
Pfeiffer?
Yep, that's an amazing
Yeah.
book.
And the forward written by Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. That's also a good one too.
Oh, of course, yes, yes.
What about
And
from a,
interestingly
yeah, go
enough,
ahead.
anything to do with MLM stuff is always great for training, right? Because Eric Worre does some amazing books on like no is that yes is no or something like that. I can't remember Eric Worre, but anything that he does is great because it's a great training ground for real sales. So cold calling and
Interesting.
things of that nature.
Yeah, I'll pull up Eric where I see it's Worre.
Correct.
I'll
Yep.
look up his books. But that gets into some of the tools. Because you
Yeah.
were talking about you use some tools for productivity. Why don't you start there?
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for that. So I have dyslexia and ADHD at the same time. So when ChatGPT came along, I started thinking, well, I just start using it to speed everything up for me. So I don't use it for a ton of building like people are really getting into the guys that are really into coding and all that. But what I do is I dictate everything inside of there and it writes my emails for me so I can speed that process up. I actually wrote my first custom chat GPT, kind of fun, where after I come off a meeting, I can take my Fathom notes or the AI notes, drop it in, and it'll actually create the emails because we give people 2 strategic introductions after every call. So it speeds up that process. But things I can speed up. Again, I'm all about like the systems, thinking in systems and then eliminating opportunity, whatever. Now, and then I'll throw another thing out I've been playing around with in ChatGPT. If you create a project, and let's say you bought somebody's program, so I bought this guy's coaching program. I threw all his material in there, and now it's like he's talking to me, and I never need to go back and do coaching with the guy because that's what's crazy about AI. As old salespeople, we have to catch up and be like, oh, this is happening lightning fast. Like so I like talk to it every morning. Like, okay, so what are we thinking here? And what would Victor say about this? And what would Victor say about this? And so it's pretty crazy.
So it sounds like a few things there, Phil. Fathom you use,
Yep, Fathom.
Fathom.ai. What do you use as far as, is there a certain dictation? I mean, I know I use WhisperFlow from a dictation standpoint to dictate anywhere on my desktop. I don't know if there's dictation thing you use or something that reads it to you. Are there any softwares you're using on the computer?
Yeah, so I use there's a Chrome extension. There's what is the extension called? It's called Read Aloud, speech to text. I use that to read everything to me. And then if I want to know what a transcript for a video, I just upload it to Loom, right? It'll give you the transcript, so you don't need another software to translate stuff. And then I'll have it just tell me what's going on inside ChatGPT, right? So things like that has really sped up a number of things for me. So every time I go to send something out, I always read it first, right? Because ChatGPT can be off or weird, but I can like create that email, be reading it to me, and move on to the next thing in my brain before I send that email out. So speeding things up that way.
No, I appreciate you sharing that because sometimes I forget to explore Chrome extensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the Chrome extensions I have is I just typed something into Chrome, the Chrome extension thing. It's a video speed controller. There's a bunch out there, but like it basically anything that's audio or video on any website on my computer, I can move it up to 1,000 times speed, right? Because with
Yes.
YouTube, it only goes 2 times, and I like to go like 3 times or 2.7, depending how quickly the person's talking. So video speed control, or just go on a Chrome extension. I like the read aloud one. That's cool. Any other?
Thanks for that one, the speed up thing, because I always go to 2 times speed. Like I just did some training right before this meeting and a podcast I'm going to go on, and he had these instructional videos. They're all 5 minutes long, and I hate when a video is over 5 minutes. So I speed up to 2 times speed, but I could probably hear it at 3 or 4 times speed, right?
Oh,
I just need the information.
If you're used to 2 times, you could probably just do like an Audible. I'm at 2.7 typically. But YouTube, has that restriction. So the one I use, I think if you just type in a Chrome extension, it's video speed control, but you could just type in speed up video, and there's probably like 10 of them. And you just hover over the video or audio, and it allows you to granularly just increase the speed in any video, right? So,
I love that. Okay, I'm using that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another thing I do to lock in all of my passwords, I love Keeper. Just recently switched computers, and that makes it super simple. I don't have to remember any of my passwords.
Love it.
So Keeper's amazing.
Any other? So people have recommended Keeper. I use LastPass.
I think they're very similar. I was just already on Keeper when I found the other one.
Any other Chrome extensions? The other one I use is OneTab. If anyone uses OneTab, it's like I feel like right now I'm looking at Phil, 50 different tabs like all over my computer. So if I want to like refresh my computer, I can click one tab and it just condenses all of them and saves them. And so I can go back. Because sometimes I just have tabs up because I don't want to lose them somewhere.
Oh, right.
One tab will just boom, just condense it into all the links in one tab. So that's kind of a cool one. Any other Chrome extensions on your
Chrome
part?
extension? If we want to jump to thinking about LinkedIn here for a second, because you mentioned you're all on LinkedIn. I don't know if you're familiar with shoot, what is that tool? It's oh darn it, is
Is
My
it
Most Trusted.
what is it?
My Most Trusted.
Okay.
So if you go to My Most Trusted in an extension, and then what they do is a lot of groups or communities will white label this for their group, but it's a really cool tool because you take all of you, let's say you know 5,000 people, but the ones you actually know, you bring it into your trusted circle, and then you ask for introductions from all of their inner circle.
Hmm. That's cool.
Oh my gosh, it's powerful because who's not going to get it's actually the basis of our entire business asking for introductions. We've learned how to monetize introductions by just asking because your network will give you introductions, but they won't necessarily send you a sale. So I love this tool for that.
That's really
So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring in, this is the one tab one. By the way, one tab's free.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah, even better.
All right.
Um, and then what about, you run communities, you have a lot of, people that you network with.
Mhm.
What do you use to help manage the communities and memberships and everything like that?
Oh yeah. So Noladex. Um, there's a gentleman that created his own networking group and put a bunch of money into Noladex, Joe. And you know his last name, I forgot it.
Mindak. Yep, I'll pull it up.
Mindex.
He was actually a guest on the podcast. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, perfect. Okay, okay, pull that up. So what a lot of people don't know is he has a networking group, but he licenses software to other communities. We chose to use it because it helps us keep track of all the introductions we do for people, and then also when people are ready to pay their referral fees, which everybody pays referral fees, or they should, then right get free sales. Then they it pays it out right through that system. So we really like it for that. And our big goal is to get to 1 million members in the end of 2030, and this can scale with us. So I really like that software. Noladex is a good software.
Phil, talk about best practices with referral fees, right? You just mentioned everyone
Mm-hmm.
should pay referral fees. How do you best communicate that to someone? And then what are some of the best practices around referral fees? Because, a lot of times this comes up when I'm talking to people, and some people have programs, some people don't.
Best practices. I think everybody. I see a lot of people just start at 10%, right? Because why would you not think of it this way? I always like to say it's free money. Because if someone makes an introduction to you or send you a client, would you rather take 90% of something you'd have to work for? And if you switch it around that way, then people are like, "Oh, duh, of course I would." But it gets a little complicated to set these things up, right? What system do I use? Whatever. But to begin with, just keep it simple. I pay 10%. Tell them what your program is. If they're going to get $500, they're going to pay a little bit more attention to saying, "Oh, this would be a good introduction." Right. So, and then, like I said, our system makes it super simple. Once you've done that deal, you just click and do it. So, but yeah, and I'm a big believer in that. I've paid referral fees, or I used to call them bird dog fees back in the day, right? Give you 50 or $100 to send me to a client. Why not? Right. So,
Any other softwares you're using on the computer? I know you heavy user of ChatGPT. It could be apps on your phone as well. What does maybe your tech stack look like? You have ChatGPT. What
um,
else?
one thing I do, my wife thinks it's funny. I never turn off the memory on my texts that I do. I have texts going back 6 years because there's always sales opportunities in there, right? And so I never want to lose that text thread because I might go back to it. That's one thing. Some people clear it out, like she's an admin, so she clears out her text. And I found out the other day, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" But that makes sense. She's not doing sales. Um, I keep all of my emails because for the same reason, because you just never know when there was going to be an introduction you need to look up or whatever. Um, shoot, my phone. Let's see if there's anything else. I use the Circle app because I'm part of Speakeasy, and that's really good. I like that. Of course, I use Go High Level, and I like using their app. Especially since they upgraded it, it's really good. Um, Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, there's some other personal stuff, but I can't think of any other business ones that I use at this point.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I just thank you for pointing that out, Phil. I want to give a shout out to Eric Berman and Speakeasy. That's actually how we met as
Yeah.
well. And before that, I've never used Circle, and I find it to be kind of a cool
It's very
app and platform.
Yeah, and some people can do it terribly because I've joined other communities. He set it up very well.
Mm.
Yeah, so he did a really good job with that. So
Go High Level is another good one.
yeah.
People could check out the episode I did with the founder of Go High Level on the podcast. That was a good one, and some of the stuff that they do over there as well. Anything from like managing emails or any other software you're using from the business side?
I did like that Fixer AI. It's spelled with a Y. It did a really good job of starting to categorize all my emails, and it'll actually start to reply, and then it learns over a period of time how you want to reply. So you can almost go in there and read the email real quick, and then kick the email out. Which reminds me, I think I'm going to sign up for that again because I had on my old email, and now I'm going to put on my new email. Just real quick on the personal side, I always like to start my day with the Bible U-verse, right? So they got a nice 2-minute version in there. You can watch a little video about what the verse of the day is, and we should always start the right way, right? But no, that's all. I think that's all I got. I mean, I could look through here, but I think that's all I got.
That actually has come up a few times as well, as well as Fixer has come up. I actually tried Fixer. I wanted to love it, except it shut off some of my hotkeys for my email. So then that was essential for me, but otherwise people are saying they like it. So if you don't use the hotkeys, it probably would work for you. For me, I need those hotkeys to like archive things and respond.
Tell us about those hotkeys. I don't know what that is.
What's that? Oh, it's just like, from a productivity standpoint, you probably get tons of emails. Who know? I think I get 500 to 1,000 emails. So, I have it set up so that if I hit E, it archives it, A replies all, R. So I don't use the mouse at all, really. If I'm in the email, I can just use, the specific shortcut keys that allows me to get through quickly, right? And I obviously have a side panel, set up in email so that I don't have to click through, open it up. Like, I don't know, sometimes it's just stuff for me, Phil, that's natural. And I was looking at, like my wife's email at one point, and she was like, pull it up. I'm like, you don't have a sidebar so you can pre-read your emails, because you have to click on the email and it pops up. I mean, I use Google Suite, so it depends what people use, but it has to pop up every email. You have to read. It's like, no, I just have the side panel. I scan it. If I don't need to respond, I archive it with an E, so it's just makes me get through emails really quickly. Right.
Wow. Gotcha. So I need a video on that, because that I can kind of see it, but and they say that too, another productivity tip is to watch someone work, because they'll do things that they're not telling you. And then you're like,
sure. 100%.
I didn't know that did that.
Actually, that's a good point. Another software, one of my favorites, is Sweet Process. We use Sweet Process from to document all our standard operating procedures, SOPs. So, because like you said, if someone walks you through it on a video, if they tell you, they may be skipping steps and you don't even see where they're going. So we'll use that I think we have over 600 SOPs inside of what we do, just to make sure it's, everyone can kind of do things in a standardized fashion.
Oh yeah, and so speaking of that, the SOP stuff, I use Loom to record anything I want my VA to do. Then I take the transcript, drop it in GPT, and tell it to make me an SOP. Of course, read it over, but I never have her come back because we do a video and ask me more questions. So if you're having challenges communicating with your VA, then always use a video. Loom is $18 a month. I mean, have it on your computer, record, go, or whatever you want to use. But getting them a video is very, very, they love that, by the way. Everybody that I do that with loves it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Phil, first of all, thank you. Thanks for sharing the tools, software. Everyone can check out the connectorcommunity.com to learn more. And we'll see everyone next time. Phil, thanks so much.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like $100 grand.